There is no part of you that is hidden. Do you hear that? You are you. You are your self. We're going to use that word. It's a tricky word. It does not help this conversation that much because it's a word that has been co-opted. Ultimately, it's a facet of language indicating a direction at the observer, right? But the implication is that there is some object there, whether it is the subject or the object. The implication is that there is some static, flat thing. That's what self is, according to the mind, according to language. You are you. You are you. You are your being. Yes. 100%, absolutely, undeniably, verifiably, by your experience of yourself being, by your own experience of being. It's really hard not to use this word. You are you. And you are the whole of you. You are being your whole being. There is no part of your being that is obscured to you. There is no part of you that is missing from you. Do you see? Your experience of being you is direct. It's immediate, right? It is your experience. And you are knowing it. You are knowing your being, that which you are, by being it. The whole concept of self-concept is exactly that. It's right there in the word. Self-concept. It's an idea. It's a mentally constructed image of what you actually are and are being and are always in contact with all the time. You can't not be you. You cannot stop being you. You can't lose contact with yourself. You cannot lose contact with your being. Trying to really get away from the yourself, it's challenging. The only thing that can happen is that the mind can sort of lay on top of it and distract your focus from your being enough that it feels like there's a disconnect. It's a feeling. It's a sensation. It's something you are aware of, which is proof right there you haven't lost contact with your being. Your being is aware and is awareness. That's how you experience your being, right? You are aware of being it. You are aware of your being. And when you are aware of the sensation that comes in when mind is clouding things, when mind has kind of sucked your focus in this other direction, and you're aware of the feeling, what feels like a distance from your being you, you're just being you, which is awareness. You're just aware of a different sensation. You're just aware of another sensation. That's all. There's nothing between you and you. There's nothing between you and you at any time. That is the illusion of the mind. And it's not a bad thing. This is not a judgment or a criticism. This is just an observation. In fact, it's amazing. It's an amazing experience. There is nowhere else that we can experience the things we can experience by incarnating into this dimension of reality. Separation, the experience of what feels like separation from our being, that's not possible anywhere else. That takes a great degree of deceptive magic, essentially, which is intentional and put in place on purpose, for the purpose of being itself, for the purpose of experiencing. That's it. Can't get that anywhere else. Can't experience, can't even really fathom of what it would be like not to trust. Distrust? Mistrust? What is that? What? I mean, I get what, but how would that even be possible? And then we dream up this world where it's possible because of the illusion of mind continuously stepping in and trying to get us to follow it, which is the same as not trusting your being. If you are following mind, you are not trusting the knowledge of your being, which is you. You're not trusting your knowledge of being yourself. Being you. Again, this is so hard not to use that word, but and then this whole notion that there could be a part of you that is missing, a part of you that is hidden, that it's obscured from your view. It's totally bogus. It's made up. You are you. You are the whole being of you. And being yourself is knowing yourself. All of it. All of it. It's not something the mind can grasp. To the mind, being is this vast, incomprehensible, mysterious thing. It can't grasp it. It can't understand it. It tries to, and when it does that, it flattens it. It is very much like scanning, like taking a picture of a fully living, organic, three-dimensional breathing being. In this case, it's three-dimensional. Well, it's more, but we're just gonna gloss over that. It's the same as taking a picture of a tree and then uploading that picture of a tree onto the internet and saying, this is tree. And the mind believes that this experience of this flattened, tiny, 300 by 300 pixel square of tree, that's what tree is. It's this little, that's tree. It's not even anywhere close to the experience that is tree. In fact, it's so far removed and so inaccurate, it's just laughable. It's absolutely laughable. But mind is not capable of grasping being. When you are your being, it's so infinitely simple. It is exceedingly simple. That's your being. Being yourself is simple. You are. Everything just is. And the mind uses something like simple as an insult. Simple is not an insult. Simple is eloquent, organic perfection. Simple requires no explanation. That's how good it is. Simple, by the very experience, the first second of your experience of being, it's so simple, it's obvious, and you get it. You just get it. You sense it. It's not even a thought. It's sensed. You sense the utter perfection and simplicity of all, of your being and all. And you just go, oh my God, it's so simple. I get it. It's perfect. There's nothing to think about. There is nothing to think about here. Just to experience. But yeah, the very notion that you could have a self that was unknowable, that a part of your being could be inaccessible to you by just being it, is totally fabricated. It's made up. It's an illusion of the mind, which itself is an illusion. None of that is a bad thing, again, and this isn't about, it's not about like, laser seeing through the mind, like you're not real, you're not real. It's not about that, because we imbued the mind with this illusion of existence on purpose. And actually, it's a pretty amazing thing. It is like watching a shadow. It's like watching a shadow. You can make some amazing shadow puppets. You can really put together a whole performance with something that isn't real, with something that is just the effect of you being and looking, essentially. And you can tell all of these stories about it, and that can be kind of fun, but it doesn't make it real, and it's not dangerous, and it's not a problem, and it's not the enemy. It just is what it is. It's absolutely serving its purpose, which is to be itself. But there is no part of you being that can possibly be hidden or cleaved or separated or removed or anything from you. You are being. Everything that you are is your being. And you be it. You can't not. Even if that gets covered up, even if it gets obscured, even if there's a different sensation on top of it, you're still being, and you are still aware of the sensation that is moving through your being. It's okay. But all of this shadow stuff, there's nothing in there. There is nothing hidden from you. There's nothing in the shadow. Anything that looks like it's in the shadow is in you. It's a part of being, but again, you don't have to delve into, you don't have to find it, you don't have to unearth it. It's just a matter of being continuously and not blocking anything out. Being consciously, I should say, perhaps. Being deliberately. And so including everything in that experience, even that which appears to be generated by the mind, notice that, but don't block it out. This is something that I'm working on, that I've done a lot, is, oh, it's just mind stuff, like, push it aside. That's the mind. That's the mind trying to escape itself, actually. Which you can't do. It's amazing how it generates a sensation and then it goes, oh no, I gotta get away from this sensation that I just generated. Follow me into myself to try to get away from this thing that's in me that I made. It's a wild goose chase, of course, and it's funny, actually, when you really see it. But so then it's a matter of just continuously being and witnessing and seeing, yes, okay, anxiety is present, and I could analyze this. I could pick it apart and find that, you know, it's a result of the perspective of mind, and mind is illusion, and I don't want that perspective. I don't need that perspective. Only the mind is saying stuff about wanting and not wanting. Being is open to every experience. Being wants to experience every experience. So it's not trying to figure out what's going on or why. It's just saying, okay, this is now. I am being. I am experiencing. I am aware of what is within this experience. And just staying there. Just staying there. Not complicating it. Not going beyond that. Just remaining in awareness of the sensation. And if the mind is flailing around, great, okay, let the mind do that. The mind naturally is resistant. This is a whole other thing that I don't know that I am going to discuss right now. Because it seems, from observation, that the mind is really this fascinating thing that is designed with a nature that is contradictory to itself. If at the core, if the nature of mind is resistant, and it certainly appears to be, because mind does that naturally. It seems to really want it. It seems to enjoy doing that. It doesn't take any effort on its part. But the nature of existence, at a deeper level, the nature of all being, is non-resistant. So now you have this thing that is being, and according to its nature, it's against nature, right? According to its sort of, I don't know what, closer to surface level, I guess, nature, it is resistant, but its deeper nature is non-resistant. And so it's like it's programmed with an inherent contradiction to itself. And it's amazing. And so it's like simultaneously craving resistance and the end of resistance, which is the end of itself. So it's simultaneously terrified of the end of itself and desperate for it. And it is also the only part of existence that has the possibility of ending. And even that ending too, it's an evolution. It would just be an evolution. And I don't know what that looks like. This is kind of an amazing unknown. Will it simply reabsorb into being? Will it evolve into this kind of higher version where it develops a new higher surface nature that is in alignment with the deep nature? I don't know. That's pretty amazing because it's happening right now. This is what's unfolding. is the death of mind. And what comes after the death of mind for mind? I'm really excited to witness it. And whatever it is, it's awesome. Because again, there is no ending. Ultimately, there's just a transition into something new, something else. But the mind is designed, it seems, to experience this dissolution of itself, to experience its own disappearance. And of course, even that is sort of illusory, because everything is being at the core. So what is disappearing is this more surface level stuff. I lack the words for it. And then I have this other, notion too, that like mind, have you noticed that when mind is still, there's nothing to it? It's actually insubstantial. When mind is still, there is no being. When the mind is doing, it feels like something is there. It creates this sort of illusion of being, this illusion of presence. It feels like it's very present. But when the mind is still, when the mind is silent, there's nothing there. There's no sense of being that persists when mind is silent. There's my own being. I'm acutely aware of that, and I'm aware of the being of other being. And there's like nothing underneath mind. So it is like underneath mind is just the pure being that is mind. And mind itself it has this illusion of a separate existence in the doing and the sort of swirling around of thought forms. It's like these thought forms kind of gather in a tornado, and then it looks like something other than a swirling of thought forms. Like you might look at a tornado and think that that's its own separate object and misunderstand what's happening there, that this is just wind. This is wind swirling, and it's picked up things within it in the swirling of itself, but a tornado is not its own entity aside from the wind, you know? It's like the wind is animating it, and it's got all this chunks of crap in it that makes it look like wind you've never seen before, but it is just wind. And that's kind of what the mind is like, it is just thought form, it is just energy. And those thought forms kind of converge in this crazy swirly point, and then it picks up other chunks of emotion and stuff like that, and then it appears to be its own sort of separate thing, but it's not. It is just energy, and when it dissipates, just like the tornado, it's just gone. It dissipates. There is nothing left. There is no tornado that is persistent. You know what I mean? The tornado, when it's done, and the wind is just wind again, and it has no continuous, sustained presence. Mind does not have a continuous, sustained presence. Mind is just the illusion of the wind that is energy kind of coagulating and kicking up a bunch of dust. And that's just what energy does. Anyway, this went a lot of places. I'm later for work than I kind of meant to be, but it is what it is. There is no part of you that is hidden to yourself. You may trust yourself. You may trust that. Trust yourself. Trust your being. Be your being. Your being is all-knowing. Everything that can be known is known by your being. Just be. That's it. That's it. Nothing is hidden. Nothing is missing. Everything is. And everything that is known to you by being. So you don't have to solve anything. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing to find. Just be. Be with what is. There's no need to analyze it. There's no need to understand it. Just be with what is. Let it be there. There's nothing to earn or achieve or accomplish. It's just being, and it's just good. It's just really, really good. Good in the way that is beyond good and bad, right or wrong. It's just awesome. That's it. That's all I got to say. I love you. Take it easy.